Hi, friend. I want to talk to you in this episode about how everything in philanthropy is changing. The world is changing, philanthropy has changed, and when leaders are not evolving, they will get left behind. And I don't want that to be the case for you. I don't want your organization to be one of those that ends up closing because you didn't evolve, because you waited too long to evolve. And growth and change and evolving are painful and necessary to fulfill our missions, period. In 2020, in 2021, it was easier to raise money. It was a hellish time in our world and in the history of our lifetimes. And there are organizations who were flush with cash. And now I am having conversation after conversation with organizations who have really strong brands. They are well connected. They have historically raised millions every year. And now Facebook has changed their policies with giving and with fundraising. They don't cover the fees anymore. They've gotten rid of monthly donations and recurring gifts altogether. On the whole, Facebook is deprioritizing fundraising for nonprofits. There has been a decrease in and a divestment in DEI funding. And Black-led organizations were already seeing a tiny sliver of the money that's available out there. And now even that tiny sliver is being diminished even more because people are like divesting from DEI and they're done with it. Education portfolios in really large, well-established billion-dollar endowment foundations are being slashed. They are not investing in education. Just take the Chan Zuckerberg initiative as one example of billions of dollars in a fund, and their education portfolio has been completely eliminated, which is a failure of leadership, but that's a whole other subject, ain't it? So governments, local, state, federal legislation is being passed, and that legislation affects government funding. It affects revenue streams that nonprofits locally run are being either that's decreased, it's increased, or it's completely eliminated with no notice, by the way. The city council or the governor didn't give you a heads up that this money is going away. Bye-bye. We are seeing more and more ultra high net worth individuals emerge. We are seeing billionaires have a higher level of wealth than they've ever had. In 2024, or whenever you're listening to this, I'm recording this in 2024 in November, billionaires are the wealthiest that they've ever been. So there are a lot of things happening in philanthropy. And I see in the nonprofit space, there's so many surveys that are being done on how a huge portion of fundraisers and of nonprofit executives are leaving the industry altogether in the next year, in the next 18 months. I'm seeing so many job openings, and there are job vacancies, particularly for development roles, that are just not getting filled very fast. And people are struggling to hire, and then they're struggling to retain talent. They're struggling to train talent, to mentor them. I see high performers who can raise a lot of money, who are the all-stars on a team, get promoted into managerial positions that they have no business being in. Just because you're an all-star fundraiser doesn't mean jack diddly squat about how well you will manage people. A lot of these folks who are getting into these roles have performed well, but it's a whole other thing to teach someone else how to do what you do. This is what I do. I'm not only a good fundraiser, I teach people to be even better than I am. That I have learned is a skill that not everyone has. And to be a great manager is to be a great coach. People don't even know what that means. A lot of times I see managers thinking that they need to have all the answers. They need to have all the ideas. They need to give their team ideas that have worked for them. And that's what their team needs. And when you are managing a high performing team or a talented team, a hungry team who are ready for challenges, they want more at bats, they want to get great at fundraising, then they likely have ideas of their own. They just need the courage to execute them. And they need to be guided. They need to be led in the right direction. They don't need to be told how to do their job. I'm seeing a lot of people who are managers and they're not people developers. Leaders develop leaders. That's what we need more of. The nonprofit world is full of people who are doers. We do a lot of things. We do a lot of activity. Frankly, we do a lot of busy work to avoid feeling our feelings, to avoid being fully present. And we stay busy to avoid ourselves, not to necessarily do the thing that is the highest and best use of our time, which leads to burnout. We are beyond exhausted. I see nonprofit people doing multiple jobs and they just accept it. They've actually resigned to even communicating what they need. They just perpetuate the thing that keeps them awake at night. They are complicit in how overworked they are. There are not a lot of organizations I see that are fiscally solvent. In other words, they don't have any debt and they have some kind of reserve and they're able to manage the challenges that come with running an organization because they have a buffer financially. And having restricted revenue like government funding, being overly dependent on social media, frankly, to raise money, to bring in supporters, and you're not converting those people to email subscribers, you're not converting them to monthly giving champions, you're not able to cultivate individual donors to become major donors, you're not able to have 100% board giving because you still have some duds on your board, or people who are just overcooked. They're done. Take them out of the oven, babe, and let them go. Release them. They've been on your board for 8 years. It's time to go. There are so many things that have shifted and changed, and what has worked is not going to work moving forward. And the key is that we must become different people. We must become better leaders. We must become better human beings. We cannot continue to do 5 jobs and expect excellence. And no one is responsible for getting your needs met but you. So if you're an executive director and you're doing your own, if you don't have an assistant, you are the assistant. If you don't have a development director, you are the development director. If you're doing all of these different jobs, when are you going to make a change? Because I'm seeing organizations come to me when, frankly, it's too late. The damage has been done. You need a miracle. I'm not a miracle worker. That's Jesus's job. I can help train you. I can mentor you. I can guide you. I can help you to build a major gifts program that's sustainable where you can raise 5, 6, and 7-figure gifts on repeat without burning out, without working so hard, 50, 60 hours a week. But some of you don't even believe that that's possible. You are your own worst enemy. And so you will be the self-fulfilling prophecy of working 50, 60 hours a week and doing 4 jobs. And then you'll be right. And you'll be exhausted. And you won't raise the money. Some of you are executive directors and you needed to hire a development director yesterday, but you can't get your board to approve it. You can't make the case. And you are going to plateau. There is only so much one person can do. I myself, the most that I've ever raised from individuals, I had a portfolio of like, I think I had like 80 something households, donors, and I raised 2.5 million. And I was on a really strong team with a really strong brand and a marketing department and a creative team. And I had the support and I had the pipeline of prospects. And that was my main job. I wasn't doing other jobs. I was doing major gifts because there is a limit to what one person can raise. And if you were at the $1 million mark, you probably needed a development director yesterday. And that's a really tough phase in organizational growth, is that $1 million mark. Maintaining that and getting past it. And it requires multiple revenue streams. You cannot just rely on government funding, on whatever you got on Facebook and social media, whatever you got from a gala or events. It's not sustainable. It's not going to get you to where you want to go. And the news is that not only do we need to diversify and bring in different streams of revenue, but we need to hire the staff that will actually allow us to build the capacity of our team. We cannot expect to go from 1 million to 2 million with the same amount of staff. We cannot expect to go from 2 million to 3 million with the same amount of staff. And some of you are looking to hire, and you're picking up the slack of everybody who's missing on the team while you try to hire someone new. Why are you doing that? Cut it out. You need to get real. That's not sustainable. Stop doing other people's jobs. Stop it. And in order to go from 2 million to 4 million, from 4 to 5 to 6, from 8 to 10, from 10 to 12, we have got to change. Our entire culture has to change. We cannot be so cautious. We cannot delay what we know we need to do. Fearful, cowardly leaders get left behind. While some of us are contemplating and analyzing and preparing and learning, aka procrastinating, others are taking action and learning and getting feedback and reiterating and going again and getting the result. When would be a good time to develop a bias for action? We cannot expect perfection. We need to make progress. Our mission demands it. So there has to be both practical, strategical things that things that, it just sounds funny. Our strategy needs to change tactically. From a practical sense, what are you doing Monday through Friday? That has got to change. You have to stop doing things that are not raising money. And then from a mindset perspective, our attitudes, our mindset, adopting the mindset that giving is a gift to the giver, that we are inviting, we're not pushing. We are inviting people to join us. They can accept or decline. It's all good. We're not pushing anybody to do anything. There's no push energy here. There's no push. I'm not pushing you. If you are with me here, if you're listening to me talk to you right now, you like to be challenged. I'm not pushing you. I'm challenging you. I'm challenging you to join me. It's an invitation. You can take it or leave it. There's no pressure. You don't have to change shit if you don't want. I'm letting you know that if you don't prioritize major gifts and unrestricted giving, that it ain't going to look too good. I mean, what's the path that we're headed on here? Our mindset has to shift around board giving and board participation in major gifts and developing referrals and introductions and growing different revenue streams so that we can have a greater sense of security. We can have a little slack. So you can take a freaking sabbatical, dude. Right? So that you can plan for the future further than just 12 months. What about a succession plan? What does the infrastructure of your team need to look like 5 years from now? Wouldn't it be great if you could sit down and just think? You could just think and strategize. Think long term. Take a deep breath. Have some reserve. Really think about, what do you want? How is the world changing, and how might your strategy for impact need to change? How do you need to evolve as a human being? Every quarter, I do like a reflection, like, how am I doing as a wife? Like, I ask my husband, I'm like, how could I be a better wife to you? I look at my business. How is my business going? What are my clients saying? What are their questions? What's the impact? What are the results? What's the data? How are my friendships? Am I good with my friends and family? What do I want in the future? Am I headed down the right direction? Is what I'm doing what I want to be doing? What do I need to let go of? What do I need to change? What's a new habit I'd like to adopt? What are some things that I don't like that I want to get rid of? How do I want to grow? And then I create a plan around that. And it's usually really simple. It's like, what habit do I need to drop? What habit do I want to pick up? There's one. And put it in the calendar. But my North Star is, who am I becoming? Am I becoming a more loving person? Am I becoming a more kind person? Am I becoming a better communicator? What's the proof of that? How do I know? Am I becoming a more patient person? Am I a better coach? Am I a better leader? Are my strategies working for my clients? What's their feedback? What would be more supportive to them? What is my impact? How satisfied am I in my relationships? And where am I responsible for that result? What could I do differently? How can I show up the ways I which I want to show up? These are questions and reflections that I ask myself on a quarterly basis. And nonprofit folks, we just don't have time, do we? The ironic thing is, we do have the time. Our priorities are out of whack. We're like, go, 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 but we don't stop to think, are we going in the right direction? And it is personal. This work is personal. In order to shape a culture of an organization, the people, the fabric of who they are, their character, their mindset, their attitude, their habits, their skills, the behavioral values shape the culture of the organization. So who you are as a leader is so important for the culture you want to create. And you may not even realize the ways in which you undermine the culture that you say that you want. You say you want to raise more money. Well, you're going to have to ask for more consistently. You say you want new donors. You're going to have to learn the skills to bring in new donors. You're going to need to increase your brand visibility and elevate your brand. You're going to need to get better marketing. You're going to need to have a better donor experience with the donors you currently have. That's the way that it works. You need to get good at writing and storytelling. These are skills, and not any one is good enough. Having the skill of marketing and storytelling, but you lack the skill of asking for more and being courageous, then that isn't enough to get where you want to go. It's enough to help you stay where you are. It's enough to help you maintain. If you're great at asking for more, but your brand stinks and your marketing isn't great, then you're going to really struggle to bring in new donors. So you need to get better at writing. You need to get better at showing up on LinkedIn. You need to get better at telling stories, sharing the impact, essentially bragging. In order for our organizations to grow, we as human beings need to grow. If we want to see a really powerful impact through our organization, we need to become more effective and more impactful people and align our actions with what we say that we want. If you say that you want to grow your mission, then you need to do what it takes to grow your mission. And that looks like letting go of control and entrusting people and working on yourself, developing your own character, your own skill set, developing the things that you have control over, investing in people, hiring people, holding your board accountable, communicating what you need from your board, letting them know the exact ways that they can be helpful to you, having difficult conversations that are honest and respectful and clear, and to not coddle people. They can handle it. They can handle the truth. They're grown-ass adults. It's okay. If we want our organizations to grow, we must grow as human beings, as leaders, as executives, as fundraisers. We have to take ownership over our own growth. We cannot expect our boss to be more invested in us than we are invested in us. Take ownership of what you need, communicate that, and decide to develop yourself to become somebody who is better, who is braver, who is a better communicator. Be authentically you and work on your authentic self. Because in order to grow, we need to grow. No one changed the world without first changing themselves. It is an inside job, and I want to see you succeed. I want to see your organization grow. I want you to grow by millions. Hire the help that you need, get the support, grow in a sustainable way, work less. Stop working till 10 p.m. way too often. Have help from your board so that they're actually helpful. These are the things I want for you. I want you to schedule a sabbatical. I want you to take vacations and not read your emails and not come back to, quote, putting out a lot of fires. This is possible. And it starts with us. Until next time.